soul, soul to soul, soul to soul.
When it comes to planting your heart, let God do its gardening. Dear viewers, welcome to Soul Talk Show. Today, in this episode, we have with us Sister Kim from Malaysia. Sister has been in godly knowledge from past 25 years. In the last episode, Sister, we were sharing the experiences of Sister. A very warm welcome to the show, Sister.
Thank you very much.
Sister, when was the first time you came to India?
I came to India in 1990, March 1990.
And how did you feel?
To be honest, actually, before that, I have never thought of being to India because maybe of wrong concept or information that, it's like full of people and, it's like dusty and dirty. But when I came into this spiritual knowledge, I think it was the pull of spirituality, God's pull to come. And that's why I made this journey. And as I was explaining earlier, actually, we had to go through 14 hours of train. And we just took a normal train. And it was an amazing scene where you get into the train and you find that while you are sleeping at night, the next morning you find somebody sleeping on the floor beside you. And you have to be very careful with your luggages and everything. And actually our whites, because it was so dusty, it turns into like a yellow or grey color in that way. But once we reach Mount Abu in Rajasthan, we reach actually Abu Road, and then going up the mountain, it's like it's a different feeling taking over. And so once we got out from that old clothes and all this, it was a very nice feeling, like coming back home to my father. And it's like you feel very homely, very secure, very close.
Sister, when you came to Madhuban, what was so unique about Madhuban? What was so unique about this place?
What actually caught my attention first was that the place was very peaceful and they were full of love. People working in Madhuban, the spiritual headquarters, you can see everybody, even people who are working, just doing like, you could see somebody like even cooking, sweeping the floor, or serving you. And everybody was so cheerful and happy and full of love. And it was like, they made you feel so at home. And they were so happy to see you.
Sister, do you come regularly to India?
Yes, every year.
Okay, so doesn't it get a little boring? Because if you come once to a place, it's very interesting. But the same place over and over again, doesn't it become a little boring?
I think it's not just looking at things physically, like you go to visit a place and then you have seen it and that's it. But it's like, why I'm coming back is because I felt that fulfillment inside. So when I go back to my country, and when you are having jobs to do, you are going through stress, you can see the difference. What I'm taking these spiritual powers, when I'm using it back and it's like slowly it's being repeated in that way. So it's like the pull is always to come back. Yeah. And it's a different kind of experience.
Sister, did you ever face any kind of obstacle in your life? And did this spiritual knowledge ever help you to overcome that obstacle?
Yes, I did actually face obstacles in my life. In fact, in the beginning, actually, my mother actually, she couldn't understand this. Yeah, and because, coming from a Chinese background, this is something which is actually quite different. So even I wanted to kind of like spend more time helping out in this godly service, and she first objected, but I somehow, maybe because of she was seeing the changes in me, becoming more peaceful, becoming happier and tolerant, and so eventually when I approached her, and she was just happy to let me stay in the center. And she also felt that I think this is something good. Because when I became vegetarian, she was very helpful to help me to keep all my, I do my own cooking, so she kept my utensils, everything separately for me.
Was she ever inspired by seeing you?
She has taken the few lessons, but because I come from a big family, so she has a responsibility to look after the rest who are not in this knowledge. Yeah. But she was very cooperative and helpful.
Sister, when you came to India, you were practicing meditation back there in your country as well. So what was the difference in the experience while meditating?
When I first started, it was like I was having good feelings from the meditation, this Raja Yoga meditation. And the reason why I actually, in fact, usually we have to wait for like 8 months before we come. But for me, it was like 6 months only, and I was ready to come. I got permission from my seniors and also Daddy Janki to come. And I wanted to come and really experience all this while it's just like I was having this kind of subtle experience with God, God like answering my questions, and that I feel that power from God. But I wanted to come personally and see and to feel. So coming to Madhvan, my first meeting with God through the corporeal medium of Daddy Gulzar, that actually cemented my relationship with him.
Okay. Sister, you just talked about Dadi Gulzar. Can you tell us something about her?
Dadi Gulzar, actually, she is the medium in which actually God actually makes use of her body. She's like a medium where God comes through her and actually using her in a sense of using her vocal cords, like speaking through her. And I could see the difference because when Dadi was giving class to us, she was very gentle, very feminine in her voice. But when we had this special meeting where it's supposed to be meeting God through her corporeal body, I could see the difference was that when actually this supreme power descended onto her, the whole place was silence. That time it was up in Mount Abu in Shanti Bhavan. There were about 3,000 of us, but the hall was absolutely silent, and you could feel that power. The power like just takes everybody into that silence, And then when she was speaking, it wasn't her normal voice, but it was a whisper, very soft, gentle whisper in that way.
And how did it feel being in front of God?
It's like you feel as if like you are lost to the outside world, and it's just like it's just me and God in this special world. Yeah.
You just told us that God really comes in Dadi Gulzar's body. So can anyone meet God? And what is the procedure to come in contact with God?
Before I came to Mount Abu, I was told, I have to practice pure diet, purity and timetable, starting from early morning hour meditation, and then with spiritual classes, which is actually to help me to deepen my understanding of myself as a soul and my connection with God. So having that kind of preparation, it actually helps one to actually to change my consciousness, because when we are working in the world, we are very action conscious, and in order to meet actually God, I need to practice to go into that awareness of being myself as being a soul, a living energy. And it's like setting the same frequency, then only I could meet God in that way. So all this preparation, I believe, was actually to help me to achieve that. So when I came to Mount Abu, it was easy because I knew it was God. So anybody actually can do it if they actually practice And this is why meditation is very important, because it helps me to go from that action conscious awareness into the awareness of being a soul, a peaceful being. And this is where only I can connect with God in that way.
Sister, there are so many institutions which teach meditation. Then why only Raj Yoga meditation?
I believe all in the institutions teach meditation, and they are good, and they achieve certain things also. But for me, I feel that I wanted was the most important thing for me was actually to meet God, to feel that higher source where I really belong to.
Have you ever read any religious books?
I've read books on Buddhism, and also books, teachings by Sai Baba, and also books written by Paramahansa Yogananda. Yeah. Yes, very much. Yeah, because coming from a Buddhist background, so it was kind of like ingrained in us that you have to do good action in order to get back good results.
Is the descent of God mentioned in Buddhism?
One of the books that I read from this chief monk, he actually says that there is God, but they do not put so much importance in it, because basically they are saying that in order to have a good life in this world, it's all depends on my action.
Was it easy for you to believe the real descent of God?
I was looking at, like, when I do good actions, how do I go about doing it? Where do I get the power from, in that sense? And this is where I went deeper to search for, through the books I was reading, and when I was introduced to God, and that's where I actually start to open myself to the concept of God.
And what concept have you built about God?
It was actually when I was going through actually a very kind of stressful time, and I remember just one night I was sitting down and then talking to God, through one of these books by Paramahansa Yogananda. As I mentioned earlier, I was saying that, just calling him Father and Mother, if you're really that, help me to find the way back to you. And it was not really any kind of rituals or anything, but just through my thought only, very casually for a few nights. And I've actually forgotten all about it. Until a year later, when I was introduced to Brahma Kumaris, and then when I came in, and I was asking God one question, when I was sitting in a meditation room in Brahma Kumari Center, I was asking God, why is it that you have come into my life? Because of that time when sometimes we are in our journey, like, I was, you have certain plans, and it's like now God is coming in, I have to make certain changes. So I just asked him, why have you come at this time? And this is where, when I had a whole flashback that I was the one sitting out, and even these words, which actually I've forgotten, it's like it came back very clearly to me that I was the one who was calling out to God. And that moment, I felt like it was a very sweet moment, and I really feel also shameful, because I feel like kicking myself in the back because I was the one calling out to God and not recognizing Him.
So can you really talk to God? Can even I try and talk to God?
I think we have this project, which personally for me, I feel you can. Even if somebody comes to the center, if it's a new student or somebody, I just, important thing is I would tell them just like, don't look at God in any form of image, in a human image, but see God as the supreme energy, supreme light. Yeah? And then have this awareness that I'm talking to God. And people find that they are able to get some kind of thoughts, coming to them which they never thought of. And recently, while I'm actually in India attending this retreat, and they were sharing a project they call Write to God. And there's been many success stories about writing to God by people outside. Yeah? And they write and they say, I've got answers for it. And they are people from any walks of life.
And where do they write the letters?
I think they write the letters and then there's a website.
Okay. And that.
But I'm not sure where is the exactly what is the name of the website.
Okay.
Because we were having exchange of news just a few days ago, and one of the senior sisters was mentioning that they had such a success program with it.
Sister, you mentioned a lot of time that to connect to God, we need to be soul conscious. But what do you really mean by soul conscious?
Okay, you see, let's say, for instance, I have a friend who is very fat and ugly. So the first time, people will look at her, she's very fat, very ugly. But for me, it's like when the first is a superficial look, which is actually like the physical appearance only. But deep down, inside, is another being, which is covered by this layer in a human form. And if, like for instance, I've known this friend, and this friend is very kind, even though he's ugly and fat, and it's very loving. The next time, I would not be seeing him or her as being fat, but I would be looking at the qualities. You know, sometimes you find that there are two people, one is very nice looking and the other one is kind of like very fat or ugly, but you find that how come they can two get along very well? It is that person is seeing the other person on a deeper level, which is actually what we call as a soul conscious level. Yeah? Whereas other people are just looking at a physical level, which most of the time we are doing that. So in Raja Yoga, we are taught to look at the internal side or internal being, which is actually inside us, the qualities in us, or you can say in a simple way.
How to practically consider oneself as a soul? I mean, because I'm this body, I mean, I consider that I'm me, so how to be a soul?
In Raja Yoga, we understand that everyone is actually a peaceful soul, because we are not aware that we have the quality of peace within us. We don't think in that way. But when I'm looking at anyone, the first thing we start teaching people is to look at whoever's in front of us as a peaceful soul. I'm talking to this peaceful soul or peaceful being, which is inside this physical body.
Sister, you received a lot of love from God. So are you now away from your relatives and home?
No, even though I live in the center helping with services, but I'm in contact with my sisters, and also because I don't have parents anymore, so mostly it's my sisters and brothers. So we're actually very close. Like anytime, and they are living in different countries. So every time when they come to Penang, where I live, we will get together, and they will also. I think after meditation, my relationship with them actually grew closer. Especially I have one sister. Most of us, in my family, we are actually, most of us are like 3 years different. And in Chinese belief, if your age is 3 years different, there tend to be a lot of conflict. You don't see eye to eye, which actually happened with one of my sister. But after meditation, when I came to Raja Yoga, our relationship actually grew to become better.
And sister, what is your daily routine?
My daily routine is actually I get up very early. I get up at before 4 o'clock, and I prepare myself for meditation from 4 to 4:45, and I enjoy this morning meditation, which is very good. Actually, this was one of the things that attracts me in the beginning, because when I was without much understanding, I was sitting for meditation 4 a.m. and then I find that when I went out to work, I felt very calm. very peaceful and very cool. It's like I could be doing a lot of things and sweating away. The sun can be very hot, but I don't feel that heat. I don't feel that sweat, and I feel like as if I've not done much.
Okay. So you used to get up so early and work, then wasn't your day very tiring?
No, I just have to adjust my time. Like I go to bed 4, I get up at 4, that means I have to go to bed before 9. But previously, before I came to this spiritual knowledge, I used to go to bed after 12.
So was it easy for you to adapt a new lifestyle?
Not really that difficult. Of course, it's like if you are somebody who sleep late, it takes a while for you to be able to stay awake. But after some time, you find that because through meditation, actually, you build up the spiritual powers, the inner power that actually helps you to stay focused. And also, through meditation, I find that you don't need that much of sleep.
And you used to work. So how do you used to take out time for all your spiritual practices?
Because I work actually. In fact, I was working from like 8 o'clock to 6 p.m. Yeah, so that was the time. But in between, when we have lunch break, I used to take a rest and go into silence. Yeah? And then in the evening, when I come back, that's where usually we will have another session of meditation, 7 to 7:30. And this is also very good because like you have spent the day working and going through dealing with different people, spending your energy, sometimes taking in negative energy and being very stressful in that way. And the 7 and 7:30 actually meditation helps me to de-stress. It's like you, again, like a handphone, you charge your battery again, and then you find that in the evening, usually we have classes again also, and we share these classes like I do. I share classes with students, and you find that it helps you to become fresh, so that at night when you go to sleep, I do also a short while of meditation just to finish my day, and just to finish my day means like each day is a chapter or a book. You close it, and then you go to sleep with your mind empty. So the next day I get up with my mind fresh, and then I'm able to see things clearer and deal with them in a more peaceful way.
Sister, you talked about the knowledge which is given in this institution, but the knowledge is very limited. So what do you study daily?
We go more into the depth of the knowledge. It's just the understanding about the self. There's so much depth in understanding the self. Like we talk about peace, but what does peace really mean? Some people will say, just it can be just saying peaceful words, but in Raj Yoga, there are 3 levels of peace. It's like I have to think peacefully, speak peacefully, and also perform peaceful actions in that way. Yeah? And so it's like every day you are going through that kind of awareness. It's like a lifelong learning where you see yourself, how much have I been practicing that?
So, sister, every day there's something new to learn?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Does this knowledge anywhere help you in your profession? You don't get tired or anywhere?
Okay, it helps actually very much. For one thing is, let me just share, it's like when we do meditation, your mind becomes very clear. Even when you are doing, carrying out any work, you are not just, let's say for instance, like I have an incident where I had to, because my profession is and I'm an accountant, so when my boss there was one time my boss wanted me to do something. We were having a discussion, and then he wanted me to do something, and I say, yes, I will do it for you. But actually, it was in my mind very clear. But when I say, oh yes, I'm going to do it for you, actually he says, I've never asked you or what I want you to do yet. And you say, yes, you will do. So then I realized that I was just I was catching his thoughts. Then he asked me what I say, you want a cash flow? He says, that's right, but I've not spoken it out, So it's like your mind becomes very clear, you catch first. See, many times communication is at verbal level. You talk to me, then I catch the message. But when you through Rajayoga practice, when your mind becomes very clear, you are receiving at thought level. So, and it's very helpful because sometimes people come in front of you, they say one thing, but actually in their mind, what they really want, in their mind, sometimes they cannot express. But through meditation, you are able to catch at a thought level and feel it.
This is such a beautiful experience you shared with us. Is there any message for our viewers?
Yes, I would like to say that actually, to all the viewers in India, actually, all the viewers are very lucky in the sense that, this is a country full of spirituality, and you should explore more because there's so much richness to take from spirituality. It makes our lives more fulfilling, our relationship more harmonious and happier.
Thank you so much, sister, for sharing your experiences with us. Viewers, I'm sure you would have been inspired. We'll meet you in the next episode. Till then, goodbye.